Hello there and welcome to my channel. So for today, if you guys have been following along, I usually do travel videos or something with family and friends in school. But this year I've been praying and planning to start this new segment, which is to do real talk videos, poems, whatever else comes along. And so today we'll be talking about the weight you carry. So before anything else, I'm just going to be putting a verse on the screen. I hope I do that right. And so according to this verse, it says that there is someone who wants to help you out. You know, there are lots of people that have been sharing, telling me things, asking me questions, which is actually why I started this in the first place. Because my heart, the way that I care for people, it makes me feel so, I don't know the right term, but I just really want to help people out because I feel like texting and messaging isn't enough. And so for all of you out there who have something that's weighing down on you, something that feels so heavy inside, I hope that this video really helps and that verse was a good start to this. So in Matthew 11:28-30, it says that you have someone who is willing to take up whatever's inside you, whatever those burdens are, and to give you a lighter load. Okay, that probably sounds not like a good trade since you're getting back something, but if you think about it personally, whenever I have these instances where I feel like everything is just too much, like, you know, when school and personal and all these other plans that you have going on are just like piling up and you just feel like it's too much, that you just want to stop, you want time to stop, you just want to renew yourself, reload yourself, and then when time plays again, everything's okay. But since life isn't like that, I have found out that trading what I was carrying in my own heart and giving it to God, and then feeling His light yoke. His yoke, He said, is light. And the amazing thing there is, it's peace, it's joy, it's the passion to continue to do things. And I don't know about you, but that's like a way better thing to hold into me rather than the anxiety, the stress, the pain, the exhaustion that I hold in myself. I was supposed to try out using an official camera for this video, but it turns out the camera that I was going to use doesn't have any SD card with space, so I was planning on postponing this. But I got some messages how these people feel so down and why these things seem to stay even though we just entered a new year. It's frustrating when, I don't know if you've experienced, but it's like you felt something years ago, and yet even after New Year, even after going to church, even after sharing to people, there's still something that's left inside. So before I tackle the different verses and my advice or what I can say about it, I'm gonna share the 5 different areas that the weight could feel so heavy. So first we have expectations and people. When we don't meet expectations, a lot of the time the label of failure is put in us, that we are not enough, that we can't do this, that I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I can't do that, I can't do this, I'm not like her, I'm not like him. And when those expectations enter our hearts and when we can't meet them, usually what happens is that it plants a seed that will grow into something not positive, but rather bitterness. It'll grow probably into hatred, into anger for people. Why did you expect this from me? Why do you even ask me to do this when I can't? And that kind of weight, actually all of these things, they all still boil down to our choices. Now, we can't do anything about what other people expect of us, but we can do something about the way that we act towards it. Whether we reach it or not, whether we achieve more than the expectations or not, the way that we react to it all depends on us. And so another thing that a lot of people have been carrying over the years is insecurity. I'm not sure if I'll be cutting in clips from earlier, but I was talking about this, and insecurities as a girl is something that I think a lot of us had to go through, whether it's a minor kind of insecurity or a large one that drags you down. I think a lot of us have really been through that comparison stage where we really look at other people and feel like we are nothing like that, where media wasn't even that big of a thing when I was growing up. I mean, I'm not 90s baby. I was born in 2000, but when we were growing up, media wasn't a big thing. So I wasn't really used to comparing myself in that way, to looking at others and wishing I had what they had. If ever, it's through toys. But as I grew up and media became such a big thing, I realized that I was being affected. When we moved to the Philippines, I started becoming conscious of the way that I acted, what I wore, how I spoke, and being different was somehow not what I was used to. And yet over time I grew to embrace it, because by God's grace I realized how special we are. Individually we are uniquely loved, and it's saddening to see that sometimes we feel like we have to meet certain standards and the expectations of others just so that we can feel like we're good enough. And that's something that isn't received or moved on from in one night. That's something that has to be done over time. And one experience that I had, it's really a minor thing. There's this girl that I followed on Instagram, and we knew each other, but we're not really friends. We knew each other, I followed her, and whenever I'd see her post, I would kind of put myself down, because I've been to the places that she's been to. Maybe not all. Like, I've been to some places she hasn't, she's been to some places I haven't, but there are lots of places that we've been to like, at the same, like, area. And I would feel like, I have better pictures than that. My dad's a photographer. He gets better shots than that. Why does she get all the likes and all the comments and everything? And everyone's like, oh, that's goals. And I'm like, I'm here. I've been to places too. And that's such a minor thing, but I didn't like it. It was like killing me inside. Like, I thought it was over comparison, and then here comes this moment where she didn't even do anything to me. It's my own choice to think about those things. And so I told myself, okay, she didn't do anything to me, but I am going to do something about this. And I tweeted that night that sometimes when it comes to removing toxic people from your life, it's not in a friendship way where you have to distance yourself from them. Sometimes removing the toxic things in your life are based on you and your choices. Whether that's what you read, what you watch, what you look at, the way you talk, whatever you think, they are all affected by you. It's your choice. And so I decided to unfollow her. And it's weird because she didn't do anything to me. Like, when other people would ask me if I was updated on what she posted, I said, no, I don't follow her anymore. And that's because, and I felt free after that, because that weight of comparison and of insecurity, of comparing myself to another girl who has no part of my life, it dragged me down, and it added weight for something that I didn't even need to carry. And based on what Pastor Stephen Furtick said, sometimes we fight battles that we shouldn't fight. And that's kind of the same thing here with weight. Sometimes we carry things that we don't need to carry anymore. And another thing that we often tend to carry are mistakes and faults. So when it comes to mistakes and faults, those are things that we can't avoid. We are people, we are imperfect, and there will really be times that we will fail. There are times that we will make mistakes. There are times that we just can't reach the standard that other people want. We can't achieve the goals that we planned for this month, and that's okay. What should happen is that instead of making it added weight that drags you down, it should instead be a motivation to move you forward. So when it comes to mistakes and faults, I can't really think of a good example at the moment, but if there's any event rather that comes to mind for you that you made a big mistake, that you had a fault in a friendship fight, in an argument with your parents, in a fight with your siblings, your teachers, then just know that those are a part of life, but they should never be a seed or an anchor that keeps you down. You see, all of these 5 things, expectations, insecurities, mistakes, faults, and people, they are a part of life. We cannot escape that. That's the truth. And so all we can do is really just learn to control ourselves. There's this quote that my mom repeated that I somehow made it in my own twist. You can't control, you can't as in cannot, control what other people think, say, or do. But you can control what you think, say, and do. And when she told me that, I was like, okay, that's something that I really need to apply, because there are so many people who can talk about you, so many people who can place burdens, expectations, they can put tasks, responsibilities on you, and the way you react is never because of them. It's always your choice, which is kind of weird, because sometimes we're like, I'm mad because of this person. I'm like this because she's like this. In Filipino terms, it's like, I'm maldita or sassy and mean because she's like that to me. And that's actually a wrong way of thinking. See, the weight that we carry is based a lot on us. Just like in the verse in Matthew 11:28-30, it says, come to me. He's not saying, I'm going to go to you and carry you. Jesus was saying, you have to come to me. Why? Jesus, God, he's God. He can do anything, go anywhere, force anyone to do anything, and yet he does not. He loves us so much that it's our free will to do things. It's our free will to have choices. And so when he wants us to have the rest in him, it is our choice to go. It is our choice to let go. And the weight we carry, it's the same thing. We can't expect God to just do everything while we just sit here and wait like, God, take it from me. Even though he does do that, even though he does miracle works, a lot of the time he wants it to be a relationship thing. Because being a Christian, loving God, it's not a religion, it's a relationship. And in a relationship, there are 2 sides. It's not one-sided. And so in the weight that we carry, it's the same thing. Jesus wants us to know that he is waiting for us to just run back so that he can help us carry that burden. He can help us enlighten ourselves every night before we go to sleep. And so I have a few more verses that I'm going to be dropping down. Hopefully I can edit this right so that it'll turn out okay. So this is the first video I'm doing about this, so I hope this helps you guys a lot. One thing that I also want to share is Ephesians 3:20. It says, God is able to do exceedingly and abundantly more than you can ever ask or imagine. Now, regarding weight and feeling so down, it's kind of hard to imagine things to be so much better. I remember I send quotes to people, and there are so many times where people would be like, hey, thank you, but I can't. I can't accept that. I can't work on it. I can't receive what you just sent because I'm in this state right now. And I understand, because there are really times where emotionally and mentally we're so drained that positive words just seem to go out the other ear and they don't settle. But I encourage you that if you're watching this, try. Try to accept the words and the promises that God has for you. Try to believe in yourself, to have a positive way of thinking, because the way that you think really affects the way that your heart acts, the way that your hands work, the place that your feet goes. Everything about you is affected by the choices that you make, because your mind is that powerful. And so in Ephesians 3:20, I pray that you claim this and you receive it, that God will do so much more than you can ever ask or imagine. And he is a God who is faithful. We as humans, we feel like we can't see someone who's that good, because we are imperfect, we are limited, but God is limitless. And he loves you so much that his plan and purpose for you are greater. In Jeremiah 29:11, it says that he has a hope and a future for you. And if you want to believe that, you have to make the choice, because God is waiting. He can't work, though, if you don't want to accept it. And so I have a few more verses that I'll be dropping down, and I really hope and pray that they help you out, because no matter what you're going through, you are not alone. He sees you in this season, and he has a reason. He is working everything together for good. And tonight, we actually just got home from church. Our pastor was sharing about Joseph. So if you know Joseph, he was a dreamer. He had a lot of brothers who did not like him. And what amazed me that I didn't realize before was how faithful Joseph was. He was a young man. There were so many temptations, so many times that he could have let bitterness and rage and anger just settle in his heart, and yet he did not. He went through things worse off than I have ever been through, and what a lot of us probably haven't been through, and yet he remained faithful. He always managed to get up because of his faith in God. And I know that you can do the same. Whatever weight you're carrying, whether it's expectations from people, your parents, to do good in school and you feel like you're no longer smart because you don't reach their expectations, whether it's expectations from your friends, from your schoolmates, where they think that you have to be like this and you're just so tired you can't do it anymore, whether it's the insecurities that you're not good enough, that no one loves you, that no one cares enough for you because you're not important, or maybe it's mistakes and faults that haunt you every single day because of what happened years ago, what happened days ago. Maybe it's the people that are in your life that make you feel like you can't go on, you can't move forward, you can't see a good future. Whatever it is, I just want you to know that the weight you carry, you can let go of it. I have firsthand experience on how I tend to put a lot of things in me and don't let it out. I tend to keep in tears, tend to keep in emotions and feelings in the past few years where I just keep it all in and try to work life as if nothing's wrong. And in 2018, I reached a point where I couldn't. I didn't like where I was. I didn't like feeling numb. I didn't like not feeling anything because I kept too much inside. And I decided, God, this weight is too much. As I enter a new chapter, when I turn 18, I want you to just take everything and help me to always let go to you. And so for you right now, if you want to know how you can let go of that weight, I suggest, and I always will suggest, to pray about it first. It sounds cliche, it sounds like a good thing that doesn't seem to help, but it does. You can ask me, I can refer you to a lot of people who can testify that prayer is powerful. And second, as I keep mentioning, it's always your choice. One thing that I tell my other friends is that, okay, if you can't adjust your surroundings, and I'm willing to suggest worship playlists, to suggest songs, books, stories, YouTubers, other people that you can watch and listen to, things that you can surround yourself with that would help you lighten up what is inside. And so this is a pretty long video, but I really hope that this helps you guys, and I really hope that you know, and I pray that you will really feel in your heart that you are not alone, that the weight that you carry can be lifted, and sometimes it's not overnight. You just have to take it day by day and entrust it to the one who knows you better than anyone else. So that is all for my first video on this, and I really hope and pray that this real talk helps you guys. And if you have any other topics, any other questions regarding this or the upcoming topics I'll be talking about, please feel free to comment down below, or on my Twitter account. I'll be open to any suggestions, any questions that you guys have. So once again, God bless, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Lose your way.